Today I'm going to give you not one, not two, but 3 reasons why you shouldn't undervalue yourself as a creative. There are 3 aspects of being creative that will be highly affected if you undervalue yourself as a creative. Number 1, your income. Number 2, your network. And number 3, your content. Starting with number 1, your income. How is your income going to be affected if you undervalue yourself as a creative? Confidence is key. People often struggle when they come out into the industry and they're first starting out and they really undervalue themselves. Obviously, when you first pick up a camera, your work's not going to be great and you shouldn't quote high for your work. But as you go on with your journey, you should start picking up your prices as you go along, as you notice that your work is getting better and better, as you notice your clients are starting to respect you more, you're picking up more clients, you can afford to take down your work just a little bit, take on a little bit less clients and earn a little bit more to save yourself from burning out. Particularly when you're starting, it's important to let your clients know, not directly, that this is your current discounted prices and not your actual prices for the long term. Because otherwise they'll get caught in a cycle of this is how much you're going to charge and they can come back to you year after year and pay you the same amount every year. If you keep underquoting for your work when your work starts to pick up and you get better at your job, then you're going to get caught in a cycle of cheap jobs, lots of clients, they'll start passing on your details to someone else and they'll say, you know what, X does this job really well and he only charges this much. Then that person's going to come to you and say, I heard you do it for this amount. And you're going to keep getting the same clients that are, your Uncle Bob coming along, can you shoot a wedding for $50? These aren't the clients you want, but you've got to start somewhere sometimes. So don't be afraid to take these jobs on when you're first starting out. Quite often creatives will put out these little mini sessions for Easter or for Christmas and they'll charge $50 when they're first starting out just so that they can get extra clients, extra work, start getting the name out there. This isn't bad at all. This is definitely a way to get into the industry and start earning some money out of it. But it's important to have a plan of, I'm charging say $150 for this shoot, but for this time only it's $75. That way next year around you can charge $150 for a shoot and then start picking it up from there. That way people know that this isn't your full-time price and they won't expect it to always be $75 for a shoot or something like that, whatever you're charging. If you undervalue yourself when you're quoting to clients and they start pushing your price down, you can really lose out on a lot of money. Often if you stay firm, they'll take you on board anyway. There's always clients who like try to push the limits a little bit, see if they can get that extra little bit of a discount, but they're happy to pay the full price, but they just want to see if they can get the price knocked down. So take a chance. Say no, you can't get it for any less, this is how much I charge. Often they'll come on board anyway. What have you got to lose? The second part of your job that can be affected if you undervalue yourself is network. Confidence is key when it comes to network as well. Confidence is key when it comes to a lot of things as a creative. Appearing confident in front of people, if you go out to a shoot and you appear confident in what you're doing, if you go out, say you go to a party and you're talking to friends or family, anyone, and you appear confident that you're good at what you do, you know what you're doing, then they'll start to take you seriously in your work as a creative. I'll give you a great example in my own experience. Just earlier this year, I started up a full-time job as a videographer. I haven't been doing videography for that long, maybe half a year before then, but it was the fact that I showed up on Instagram, I was going out, I was buying new camera gear, showing up, doing the job properly, that people started to notice me more, and then the right person came along and said, we have a job for you if you're interested in taking it. Then I went to do a trial run at the job, appeared confident, knew what I was doing, and even if I didn't know certain aspects of the job, I knew that I always had YouTube or something behind me that I could search up just how to do it. It's a really easy way of doing it. So just appearing confident can make a really big difference in people who want to hire you. When it comes to those kinds of situations, it's always good to oversell your abilities, knowing that you can always learn on the job when it comes along. Obviously, one-off shoots is a little bit harder sometimes, but if you oversell yourself in that situation and you come up to the shoot, just know what you're in for, research what you need to do beforehand, learn how to do it. And even if it's a week beforehand, you can always learn how to do something really easily when you're watching YouTube. And finally, number 3, your content. This is the most important part of it as a creative, obviously. So how is your content going to be affected if you undersell yourself? 2 things can happen. If you undervalue yourself as a creative, you might not start critiquing your work. You think your work is not good, and then you'll start just taking photos and be like, oh, I'm never going to be this person, so what's really the point in trying? And you'll start to just fade away. This is obviously what happens with a lot of people. They pick up the camera, they start taking photos, and they start to lose interest because they don't think they're good enough and they'll think they'll never get there. And they don't want to put in the work afterwards to try get there. But also, you can start judging yourself based on other people's photos and highly critiquing your photos. That's obviously the polar opposite. If you take a photo, you start being like, this is what's wrong with it, this is what's wrong with it, this is what's wrong with it, and then I'm never going to be good enough. Then you always start to undersell yourself, undervalue yourself as a creative, and not think about the fact that you can learn, you can always get better, you're going to get better as you go along. If you undervalue yourself and your content, you might notice that your standard starts to drop over time. You start to notice that you go to a shoot and you'll come back and you'll find your photos aren't as good as what they should be and what you normally shoot. This might be because you undervalue yourself. You don't hold yourself to as high of a standard as what you should be. Always go into shoots with a standard of the photos, the type of content, the videos, what you need to come out of the shoot with. And if you come in with a good standard and you start shooting, you notice that your content's not good, keep shooting until you get that content and the standard that you need. Because if you start to say, I'm never going to be able to get these types of photos, then you never will, because you're never going to try to achieve that kind of standard. If you notice that someone else takes, like if you follow, I don't know who people follow these days, but say everyone used to follow Peter McKinnon back when I was starting out. If you follow Peter McKinnon and you say, I'm never going to be able to reach that, then you're holding yourself to a low standard. You should always hold yourself to, this is what I want to be, this is the type of content that I want to take, the standard of content I want to take, and knowing that you're not there yet, but you're going to keep on pushing to be able to get there. That's the key, that you keep on pushing yourself and your standards to be able to get to the standard where you want to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. That Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat, whoever people follow. I don't even know who people follow these days. But yeah, keep pushing yourself, keep holding yourself up to high standards, because that's how you're going to keep on growing every single shoot. Put your standards up 0.5%. Eventually, you're going to reach that 100% standard. And that's the 3 things that can be affected if you undervalue yourself. So don't undervalue yourself. Even I know that I'm not the best out there, that there's people produce better content than me, people are better filmmakers than me, but I don't undervalue myself. I sell myself to potential clients. Sometimes I oversell myself a little bit, but I know that this is the type of work that they expect, and then learn before or while I'm there. Always learn on the job, keep learning. At the end of the day, you're going to get there. Keep on learning, keep on creating content, whatever you do, whether you're a photographer or videographer, keep creating content. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next big YouTuber one day. I'm going to keep creating more content and trying to push myself to be the best that I can be. So feel free to join me on my journey. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye. Hey, you like my fake desk? It's pretty cool, huh? I'm literally sitting in the middle of my living room right now. I've got boxes on this side. Couch is sitting just pushed away a little bit to the side there. This isn't even my office space, but it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Do like a little bit of greenery in my office.